kindly let's start off with you introducing yourself, and then we get into the discussion.
Okay, so I'm Renee Okoye.
Mhm.
I am a teacher by profession. I studied early childhood education and childhood psychology, and I am a firstborn in a family of three, and a wife now, and a mother to a mother of two.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Amazing,
yes,
amazing. So now,
yeah.
um,
Hmm.
in today's discussion, talking about test drive, sex, and
Mm-hmm.
drugs. Now,
And
I'm
drugs.
curious
Yeah,
to ask Renee, have you had your
yeah.
share of test drives?
Yes, I had quite a roller coaster in my early 20s. I I finished high school in 2009. So no, I finished in 2008, sorry. So in 2009, that's when now I basically joined what people call the outside world, which is outside the confinements of your home, being controlled by your parents. And I was in a boarding school most of my life. I started boarding school in class 7. So throughout, from class 7 all the way to form 4, I was in boarding school. I wasn't staying with my parents. And that one was confining, like, there are rules, regulations. So you come from school, you're at home. At home, I wasn't allowed to really visit a lot of people apart from my relatives and family friends. I wasn't allowed, we were not allowed those sleepovers. That was a no in our house. So when I joined campus, it's when I now started having that a bit of space where I can go and sleep over at my friends. And that's how that I was introduced to that life of, alcohol and other drugs and sex. Yeah.
Uh, does it necessarily mean that once you get to enjoy freedom, you most definitely have to go down with the sex and drugs?
Not really. Not really. Okay, in my case, I, with time I've come to learn it doesn't happen to everyone. For me, what happened is I was just trying to find myself. Like I was just trying to get in touch with some things I felt were missing in my life. Like I wanted to fit in. I really wanted to fit in. I wanted to have friends, and so in that line, I found that most of the people I was associating with were already in this thing. So for people to, I felt like for someone to accept me in their circle, I had to do what they were doing. And in campus, for you to look cool, for you to look, you are up to date, you are that guy, that girl, you have to participate in these things. Like you can't be in a conversation where people are talking about sex and you're there um, feeling proud that you're a virgin. There was nothing proud about to tell people, oh, I'm a virgin and whatnot. So, well, I went into it because I felt so confused with a lot of things. One, my parents are very strict. They are strict Adventists. We were put through the church, adventurers, pathfinders, all those things. And Bible study and books were there where you're told, you have to read this, you have to do your devotion, have a relationship with God. But then there were other things happening inside the home which were conflicting, you know, where the Bible is God comes out to be this loving father, very accepting, very accommodating, But then in the home, the the father figure in the home is totally different, very different. Like um, he's not that warm and welcoming and all this. He's just strict, like it's my way or the highway. You do what I say, and if you don't do it, you leave my house. So I was battling all these things, and so for me to just get who I was, I found that I went into these things thinking it's fun. And then I had a lot of emotions like frustrations and feeling rejected, feeling not loved enough. So these things kind of gave me solace, kind of made me feel like I'm loved. You know, when you're high on something, your emotions are heightened. So if you are just a little bit happy, now you are happy, like you're on top of the roof happy. If you are sad, they tend to suppress that sadness and make you feel like you're just in this bubble of joy and happiness, and things are not real anymore. So those feelings of rejection and not being loved just tend to fade away when you're high, when you're in that moment, when you're having sex with someone, or you're just high on these other drugs. They make you feel a very different thing. So it's not necessarily that when you get out of high school you have to go into alcohol and drugs. If your foundation at home is good, like you have a very loving, understanding environment in the home, then it's really hard for people to sway you around, because you see, you have, if your mother or father is someone who you can sit down with and tell them, I have these conflicting things within me. What am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to go about them? Then you don't have to seek solace in your friends or in drugs and alcohol. So um, for me, it was I didn't really feel like I had someone to talk to. So when these friends showed up and they were like, try this, try that, and you're drunk, you don't have to talk about anything,
Mm.
you're just happy, and that's it. Yeah.
Now, let me ask you, how did you get introduced to this kind of lifestyle?
um with alcohol, I met this guy um after high school, who we started dating. For him, he had started drinking way back in high school. Both of us had just finished high school. So he texts me, he we start dating, and then he's like, do you drink? No, I told him, no, I've never tasted alcohol. And then he tells me, you know what, I'm going to take you out. So we go out, and they they bring this uh, liquor out, and I'm told, have a taste, have a go at it. And my first taste, it was a bit bad, but then the more you keep taking it, the more it becomes more, it's okay, you just feel okay. And that's how it was from there now. And it wasn't Tasker. We used to call Tasker, these big brands, we used to call them water, because they don't make you drunk so fast. But then
Mm-hmm.
there are these backstreet alcohol, where the ones people call Makali. That is what I was introduced to the first time.
Mm-hmm.
So so they really put me on another level.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you give me something cheap, something expensive, it won't affect me in any way. Like, I can drink it and go home no drunk. I think it meant, I make sure I have somewhere to sleep. I don't go home, because if I go home, it will be war. Yeah. So that's how it started with the first boyfriend, and he's the one now who even introduced me to marijuana. And there's another drug they used to call kuber. It's a it's a medicine that Maasais use, but it's also a drug. It's for medicinal purposes, just like marijuana. Some people say it's for medicinal purposes, but then it's also a drug which makes a normal person high. So kuber is, he used to get it from some Maasai guys. So you put it inside your lip, yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
you stay with it for some time. But the minute you remove it, the highness goes away. So you have to keep it there if you want to continue feeling high.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So basically, those are the only things I tried. Which
Alcohol,
sometimes I thank God.
marijuana. Uh-huh.
Just alcohol. Yeah, yeah. So I thank God that I didn't get so far to things like cocaine and heroin and all that stuff. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Now, there's someone who's watching right now, probably a
Mm,
youth who's in the space where you are in, that is
yeah,
trafficking drugs.
yeah.
What would you tell them,
Mm.
especially a lady?
I realized that sometimes in life we are pushed with timelines. I want to be married by 25. I want to have children by this point. But we forget to ask what plan does God have for me? Just waiting to see the path that God has laid out for you.
Mm-hmm.
Because as for me, at that time that I was in, even when I met my husband, the first thing, because when I met him, I was still struggling with these things. I wanted to get out of them, but I didn't know how to do that because I still felt that they were filling a gap in my life. So when I met him, I told him, this this is who I am. I had accepted that this is me. This is me. I enjoy going out to club. I enjoy drinking. I enjoy smoking weed once in a while. I'm not addicted to it, but sometimes I feel I need it. So this is where I am personally. And then I am into, I have slept with multiple people, so I don't know how I'm going to be faithful in the marriage. And I was really honest with him and told him, this is where I am. But funny enough, it didn't push him away. For some people, they'll be like, oh my God, this one is a damaged person. I can't deal with this person. But for him, he was like, it's okay. We will work through it. And considering that for him, he has never tasted alcohol. He has never touched alcohol. He, I mean, he's just, a youth in church doing God's work, very focused in the church. And he was really understanding with me. He told me, it's okay, we are going to do, what do you desire right now? He asked me, what's your desire? And I told him, my desire is to stop. I want to stop. I want to be better. I want to experience life in a different way. So he told me, it's okay, I'm going to show you other ways of having fun. You don't have to get drunk to have fun. You don't have to go to a club to have fun. I'll show you how to have fun. And at first it was confusing, but with time, I came to enjoy that because we only dated for like 6 months and then we started planning for our wedding.
Mm-hmm.
So within those 6 months, we really had a lot of fun and it showed me something different. And so in that light, I always tell young girls with who sometimes they come to me and ask me, hey, how did you manage to get out of this? Those people who know, I would be like, you know sometimes just sit back and let God do his part, and he will do it. he will
Mm-hmm.
he will take these things out. You won't have to struggle. You won't have to go to a rehabilitation center. Like, he himself will work on you personally if you let him do it. And
Okay.
by letting him do it is also and identifying what is the problem, what is the root cause of this thing, what am I really yearning for, you know what is that gap I want to fill with this thing, what is this hole that these things are filling, so that he himself can come and fill it, and then you get that healing from that, from whatever it is you're going through.
Interesting
Because
now. Mm-hmm.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
now I'm sure someone watching right now will be, there's someone who's probably stuck there and
Mm.
they're in a space where they know, nitatoka tu, I mean, see, ni kesho tu, I'll just decide. Are you having, like, do you think your lifestyle then when you're doing a test drive has probably damaged you even
Mm.
right now when you're in marriage?
Yes, yes. There are a lot of things I had to unlearn. You can't. It's not a decision you wake up in the morning and say, "I'm not going to drink" by yourself. You can't do that. Or I'm not going to last after a guy, or I'm not going to feel the urge to sleep with someone else apart from my husband. You can't do that on your own. It's something you need to constantly put to God in prayer. Like, God, these are my weaknesses. This is where I am hurt. These are my wounds. And so I need you to heal me. I need you to continue working on me every day, every moment in my life. Remind me that I need to choose my husband every single day, no matter what is around. I mean, God just can't everything, because I tried a couple of times way back before, when now I was feeling tired of constantly going out every Friday, every Saturday. And maybe at the end of the month, you look at it, you have debts to pay, you want to have fun, you want to, this all these things. And so at some point I was getting tired. I'm out. But a month down the line, someone just comes along and they're like, "Hey, we go out." And you're there. You go out. You forget. I wanted to stop. And then you say, "This is my last drink. This is my last weekend out." But then you find yourself another month doing the same thing. So you really can't do it on your own. You need God. And it affected my marriage life, because in the first year, sometimes I would have anger, like bursts of anger, because I didn't know how to control my anger. And I would lash out at my husband, because the only way I would suppress my anger back then was going out to drink. Like, if something is not going my way and I feel like lashing out, I would drink. Go for a drink the whole night, come back the following day, I'm done, move on with my life. But now I was in a situation where I have to face these emotions. I have to feel them. I have to go through them. And I'm in a marriage, and I have a partner who I don't want to hurt. I don't want to transfer my wounds to them. So I really had to work, and he helped me also to work through my anger issues, which sometimes they are those bursts of anger, but then now they are more manageable. I know how to deal with them. I can go for a walk, I can put a hymn and listen to some nice songs, and it just goes away. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it really affects the marriage setting.
Mm-hmm. And I think that goes
Yeah.
a long way to the guys who are like, you know what? It's just me as a young guy. It won't go to my marriage. But from your sharing, I believe
It does.
from your sharing, I
It
believe that.
does.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. You saying something?
Yeah. Yeah. Even with the sex part, you know, there are so many things I had to unlearn. Yeah, which I had experienced before. So now in marriage, I had to really unlearn and get these people out of my system, so that I can be able to fully concentrate on my husband and fully be there for my husband, give myself wholly to my husband, without having those flashbacks and images of these other people coming in. Sometimes they're there, but I believe God is still working on them. They are more there, as in, for the last 4 years we have been together, it has been a working in progress. God has been working in me and even in him, to ensure that our marriage is whole, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't really say, for a young person, I mean, don't say, I'm only going to do this in my 20s and it's going to be over and done with. No, those things we do when we are single, those things we do outside the marriage, we translate them to our marriages. They come into our marriages. Whether we bring them in consciously or subconsciously, they are there. And sometimes we have to deal with them the hard way. For us to have a healthy relationship with my husband, we have had to sit down sometimes and talk about them. Like, do you miss this person? Do you think about this person? Who really impacted your life at this time. So do you think of him? Do you remember him? And if you think of him, what do you feel? And sometimes I feel like he's putting me in a hot seat, but then it has helped us. It has really helped us to grow. And it has also helped him to understand me better. And and most of the time we pray about it a lot. We really pray about it. He prays for me, I pray for him. And as I said, temptations are there, you know, temptations are there. It doesn't mean that when you're married, now you it automatically switches that I'm only going to be satisfied by my husband.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes there's that feeling where you're like, I am bored, I'm getting bored. Satan will try to bring those thoughts like, this person is becoming boring. I need something else. I need something more fun. And he will bring that person back by just a message. This person will come by, oh, hi, how are you doing? And those feelings will come rushing back. And you have to confront them and be like, no, I can't do this. And tell this person, I'm good, but go back to where you came from. Go back to where you came from. Let me concentrate on my husband. Yeah.
Okay. Now, last question. Even as we come to a close, probably one or two
Yeah.
last questions. I'd like you to give
No
a thought
problem.
to this.
Mm,
What is one
mm,
of the biggest scars you have, either
mm,
emotionally or physically, that you still carry with you because of the life that you lived in that test drive moment? What is that one biggest
mm.
scar that you still pray that he talk it to you and
The sex part. The sex. The sex really damaged me in very many ways because you in that time that you're having sex with people, you're not just having sex for fun. There's something you're looking for. And either you're looking for love or affirmation or security from this person. And most of the time, these people don't give you that, especially for women. Most men out here are not, and I'm not, I'm not coming at men. It's just that it's the reality of things that sometimes most of the time men who you meet in clubs and these just random people, they are not there to really love you, to give you that security. They are there to quench a thirst of the moment and then they walk away and they leave you with a scar. You know, they leave you feeling dirty, feeling worthless. And so it's something that till date, sometimes when I remember, when I think of them, I I become emotional. Like I can just sit somewhere and start crying and ask myself, why did I do this? Like why did I allow these things to happen? Couldn't I just wait? You know, what was I mean, sometimes I wonder what was really, really going on in my mind when doing these things. And it's something every day, and even my husband reminds me, you have to forgive yourself. You are in a bad place, you are in a in a in a very complicated situation, and so these things pushed you to do the things you were doing, and so you have to forgive yourself. And so it's I'm still learning to forgive myself and be easy on myself because um sometimes I can feel uh some discomfort in my body or feel pain somewhere, and I feel like, oh God, I'm being punished for what I did, or as a result of this. You know,
mm-hmm.
I will study somewhere and be like, oh, you know, having sex with multiple people gets to you having this kind of disease. And sometimes I wonder, am I really HIV negative? Do I have HBV? You know, and not that I've not been tested. When you get pregnant, you get tested,
Mm-hmm.
but then sometimes I'm just like, is are these people really, really sure this test is negative?
Uh-huh.
Considering where I was, I mean, it's God's grace. it's just God's grace. And
Okay.
sometimes we talk about it and laugh about it and be like, hey, sometimes God, if when God decides that this is going to be your path in life, no matter how far you stray, He will try as much as possible to protect you and bring you back. And that's what I felt He did for me.
Okay,
And
now the last question. Last question. Well,
okay.
since previously someone said you said that you're not coming for men. Let know what would be your word of advice to guys who are probably stuck in this also particular lifestyle. What's your word of advice?
for men, I'd say the same thing for women. Like, we all have scars, childhood traumas which affect us psychologically, and they manifest in different ways when we become adults. And it's necessary. I remember a few weeks ago I was listening to one psychologist who was talking about childhood traumas, and he said they affect both genders differently. Both of you might have been raised in a home where there is uh, violence, but one person will turn out differently from the other because you take that pain differently, and it manifests in a different way. And so the first thing is touch on it, like have have that conversation with yourself. Am I okay? It's really necessary for us to keep asking ourselves, am I okay? Why am I doing this? Why am I sleeping around? What am I looking for? What am I getting from alcohol? Because truth be told, many people who are drinking are hurting. Many people who are having random sex with people are people who are hurt, and they're just looking for peace. Most of them are just looking for love and peace in the wrong places. These things don't give they don't give peace and love. They actually keep digging that hole deeper and deeper. They make things worse. So it's necessary that even as a guy, just sit down and ask yourself, what am I getting from alcohol? What am I getting from alcohol? And if you need help, seek for that help. And the first place where I tell people to seek help is from God. There's no one bad, as in so bad, who God cannot listen to. And if you don't know how to pray, sometimes I have conversations with God, and my husband can come in the room and ask me, Cody, you're talking to someone. I'm like, no, I'm praying. Because he'll find me seated and I'm talking to God like he's right there. And I tell him, I am at this point where I am today, the feelings I have today, I can't handle. I can't continue like this. Can't I'm really trying to understand what you're doing. So please tell me what it is you're doing. Of course he won't respond in words, but then there's a way you'll feel afterwards that will tell you, oh, I'm feeling better. I'm
Mhm.
feeling much better. Yeah. So start by knowing your problems. It's necessary for all of us to know, who am I? What am I feeling? Where was I hurt? And start from there. That's where the healing begins. And
Mhm.
then the hope is that nobody has gone too far for God to rescue. No one. There's no one who God cannot rescue. I avoid dismissing people because I look at myself and I'm like, if God dismissed me, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
So there's nobody who God can't rescue from whatever hole they are in. I mean, look at Rahab. Rahab was a prostitute, and you know, God
Yeah.
then used her. She was in heaven, and had showed them grace, showed them love, give them an opportunity to maybe opportunity, yeah,
Mm. Oh,
to
okay.
make things better and to have a relationship with God.
Wow. That's actually something. Thank you so much, Shani, for sharing. And wow. Welcome back to The Identity, and you're still on the discussion of my reality versus hypocrisy. And I'd like to throw in first to the panel. First of all, today our panel is Pastor Ernest Ireri and Jeremy Omari, who will be helping us draw life experiences from this particular discussion. Jeremy, what is hypocrisy to you?
Hypocrisy is just a synonym of fake. It's very simple and clear.
Simple and clear.
Yeah.
It's fake.
Yeah.
Pastor, what's your definition?
Hypocrisy.
Yeah.
I love that, that it has a synonym for fake. I would say hypocrisy is living a lie. It is putting on a mask, being inconsistent. Mm-hmm. That's what I would say.
Now, let me come to the from the particular interpretation definitions. There's that person who's living a lie, mm-hmm. but then this lie that we see it as a lie is their reality. Is there that possibility?
Yeah.
It's there.
Yeah.
So someone can live a lie?
Yeah.
How?
Practically, Adventist men,
Whoa.
we are good with suits. Mm-hmm. on Saturday.
Okay.
But kwa ground,
okay.
just good with outward appearance. Mm-hmm. But what is in the pocket and what you show are two different things.
Pastor, what I'm doing, okay, wait, you want to chip in?
Yes, I want to
Go
chip in
ahead,
there.
go ahead.
Yeah, for sure someone can live a lie, which is to them a reality. Let me give it a biblical perspective. Mm-hmm. The Bible tells us in 1 John 4:20, whoever professes to love God and hates the brother makes God a liar, or they are deceiving themselves. Mm-hmm. That is to say, I can be doing all the religious stuff that is there. I can be standing in as a leader and give announcements. I can be putting on a very beautiful suit. I give my money for tithes. I construct churches. That is my show of loving God. And to me, I'll be saying I love God purely. Mm-hmm. But we are told that love for God should first and foremost be seen by how you treat your brother and sister, your love for other people. So for sure, I'll be living a lie, because in Scripture, you do not love God if you hate your brothers and sisters. But to me, I'm doing the best I can. In matters of church, I'm there. So truly, I'll be living a lie, but to me, that lie is reality.
For example, using the same analogy, there are people who you just don't meet eye to eye. Mm-hmm. And for me, let me use Jeremy for example. Probably me and Jeremy have just bad blood between each other. You know, and it's not because of what he has done or what I've done. We just know that we cannot gel together. Is that hypocrisy? Because I think I'm in a place where I think, since we can't gel, let me just avoid him so that we don't clash. What do you call that?
Now there things get tougher. Because the definition for that, quantifying such a behavior, should first and foremost be based on our set values. As Christians, and not just Christians, Adventist Christians, who we know our life should be dictated by God's word. God's word will have a definition. He will say, if I have a problem between me and Jeremy, I should see him. We iron it out. Because without ironing it out, when I have a grudge in my heart, even my own prayers do not get to heaven. So if I know that is what I'm expected to do and I don't do it, when I see him, napiga corner, I want now to go the other. I just want to make peace, you know. There's no need of getting close. And I know there's something between us. Then I will also say, because we have, who defines that is the Bible, then I'm also living a lie. I'm becoming a hypocrite. What God has told me in his word, I'm not following.
I'm looking at someone who professes to be a Christian, but then he's struggling, he or she's struggling with something. Let's say drugs, you know. This person is doing their best to be a Christian, but then they're still stuck on drugs. Is that hypocrisy?
I would say no.
How so?
You see, this life is that part that says, one of the shows we've had with you one time, you brought in some poem in Psalm 23. Even though I walk through the shadow of the valley of death. You see that even though is an if clause. I may walk through the shadow of the valley of death. Those are the most down part of my life. Or I may not walk through. So if I'm in such, struggling with pornography, struggling maybe with things like alcohol and drug abuse, I'm struggling with an illicit kind of sexual relationship. If I'm struggling and I'm looking forward to the Lord, please help me out, I will not say that is hypocrisy. It is something that has come into my life. I have noticed that I have this problem, and that's why we are using the word you are struggling with. So you want to live your Christian life as it should be, as it is guarded by God's word. But this thing that is pulling you back, you are struggling on how you'll come out of it. That is not hypocrisy. That is something that has come in like it will be there for every other person. But now it will become hypocrisy. If I will live that negative aspect of my life, thinking, after all, it is okay, let me just continue. That's who I am now. There is a problem.
Jerry, we have very many friends, both from our religious circles and also social circles, that is outside church. And I don't know about you that much, but there's this notion where you want to fit in as a young person, you know, and sometimes you may be pulled towards going to places that you don't really want to, you know, but you'd stick to it. For example, I have friends who are from, you know, other spheres, and we were meeting, let's say, at a club. Number one, I don't want to go, but then since that's a central point, well, I will go, you know. I won't drink because I know my faith. I will ask for a soft drink, you know, let's say juice or soda. Does that still reflect hypocrisy in me?
No, that's being real.
I'm sorry, please speak out loud.
That's being real.
How so?
Let me use a practical example of me. In campus, all my close friends used to drink. But when it reaches Friday, it is party time, you know. I go to Vespers, but they go their way to drink and that. So we meet either on Sunday evening or Monday. Because on Friday I'm in Vespers, Saturday I'm in church. Maybe Sunday part of it, some 2 hours, choir practice and that. So in our campus, we had a club inside the school. So I used to go there. I don't drink, but I take a soda. Okay, there was a lady who used to sell some fresh juice. I love passion. So they order for me passion, but they order their serious stuff. That is being you. Although some close friends of mine whom we were in church used to criticize me that I'm walking with the drunkards and that. But I'm just being me. That's being real.
Pastor, how do you look at it? Because I think most of us young guys are in that space.
Yeah, I think it is a unique perspective. And I thank God for Jeremy's being open with us. Yeah, it is true that is being real. I will not go there. As in, I will go there in my heart knowing I'm not going to drink. But I'm following my friends that we are sitting there. In his perspective of being real is, you've not refused to go, yet inside your heart you have that pinch of you want to go. But because you want to look better, you want to portray another holier, perspective, you don't go. That one will be hypocrisy. But I'll also come in on another perspective and say, being real also means that I need to see things in the perspective that my Father in heaven will see them. When he says, for example, like in 1 Thessalonians 5:21, that avoid even the form or appearance of evil. Some versions will use appearance, others forms. It is not evil for me to be somewhere drinking soda or fresh juice. It will not be evil in itself because I'm not drinking. But you see the part there says even the appearance of evil. So somebody somewhere who probably is looking forward to you for spiritual strength. Those things happen. We are living in a cloud of witnesses. Somebody who doesn't tell you, but the way you dress every morning, the way you relate with people of the opposite gender, when you're given a chance to speak, they admire that and they say, God help me. Like young people. Lord, when you give me a family one time, I want to be like that model couple. They do not know whether somebody is looking up to them. So even that form or appearance of evil may bring them down. So my reality will also be knowing what my Father in heaven expects of me. Yes, drinking is wrong. It is evil in itself. I may be with my friends and I don't take that alcohol. But if that is also kind of an appearance of evil, let me put it aside.
There's an element of temperance that I see you bringing in there. And let me come to you, Jerry. There are people there's someone watching right now who will be like, okay, I have decided to live this kind of lifestyle because there are scars that I may be going through because of what I was told in church or I was exposed to as a young person. And they're having it hard to live with their reality. What would you tell them?
Yeah, all this come when I know Pastor, I wish he had a word on this.
I believe he will.
Extremists. They try to make this young, feeble-minded Adventist youth feel like Adventist church is so strict. Like they regulate. Okay, let me use an example of food. They regulate what we should eat until you ask yourself, now, tutakula nini?
That is true.
So such talks that make people become so weak in faith, some feel like it's so hard to be in the Adventist church. It's better to have fun, but okay, personally I feel like have fun, yes, but have it with limit. As much as you have fun, I know that I should do this, but I should not do this. We tend to live in okay, personally, I love our church, but there's too much pretense. That's something that people fear to speak about. There's too much pretense in our church that we've turned it to just a congregant meeting that people just come meet, then they go to their places. If it was so much real to us, the afternoon school have been full as morning. But because we are so much conformed to the world, afternoon you just meet benches. Because youths have wameenda meeting zao, baby shower, sijui nini.
Kujienjoy.
The same thing. I'm sorry to speak about this, but
Please go ahead.
getting pregnant while being a youth has become so normalized. It's something so normal that we have to live with it because immorality is on the high, because we don't speak what we need to speak. Because if you speak what you need to speak, an elder will come and tell you, tuliza ball kidogo.
Cheza chini.
Cheza chini. I'm a case who has been given censorship because of singing with a group that is not allowed to practice in the church. So what led to them being stopped to practice in the church is because of they spoke out their mind that we are getting okay, our age, okay, we are aging up, And we can, okay, if we continue being called a youth choir, itakataza walio nyuma kanyaga youth choir. You're getting the point. So that made some of us being given censorship just because of speaking. So if in case we could have been speaking what is real, like you just go straight to the point and say that you got pregnant, it is wrong. It is what? It is wrong. Have some rest, go back and get baptized. Mtoto ni wako, but you know life has to move on. But first accept you did something wrong. But it has become so normalized that it's blame games. But instead of saying it is wrong, siku hizi wanasema it is right.
Oh, it is life.
It's life. Maisha imeniweka hapo. Okay. So if in case we accept, yeah, it is wrong stuff, but life has to move on. I accept I've done sin. I ask for forgiveness from God. If it's getting baptized, I get baptized. If I was not, and that, and we live a better life than we were.
Pastor, jumping in, there's an aspect that is brought. I'd like you to add voice to it. The aspect of extremism, and please add voice.
Yeah, to me, that comes in when we are taking the prerogative of God. If you read Matthew 7, verse 1, we are told judging is a prerogative that is not man's, it is God's. I should not reach a level where I'm now prescribing to people how they should live their life. What this Bible says gives us principles. And for every principle, there are no examples. Principles are principles. They are not outdated by time. So depending on how, with the light that the Lord has given me, I'll understand this principle. That is what helps me to live my life. And at times when I understand the principles, I pick the value beside the principle, it becomes my life. The problem we have out there is that people have given us so many rules. We give an example of the extremist telling you, do not eat this, do not eat this, do not go to this place. But I don't think that helps us. Because those rules are the same rules we had while we were in high school. And we used to say rules are there to be broken, not to be followed. Why do you tell me do not step here? You see, like some of the compounds in our schools, you see, initially, the one who brought in the issue, do not step there were some flowers. A year down the line, there's no flower, there's nothing, it's just stones and sand. And you still have that thing saying, do not step there. So it doesn't even make sense. So to me, I would say, instead of giving me a rule, prescribing my life or how I should be, give me the principle, the value behind that rule. We are telling you not to step on grass here, because when you step on that place, you destroy the environment, the beauty that those flowers should be bringing, that are radiating the entire environment. We need to preserve that. So when I know the reason behind this rule, I'll say, okay, so why we are not stepping is we want to take care of environment. I will apply that in other aspects of my life. Even when I go home, I see a flower, I will say I will not destroy it because it is not right. So when I understand that value, I will not have a problem of saying these rules are there. You know, this person has prescribed so many things to me. And I would say that is biblical.
I find it interesting, and please correct me if I'm wrong to say this. An extreme view of things is a form of hypocrisy. Let me give an example. Probably, maybe that statement is too huge. Let me debunk it for a second. When someone has decided to be not Christ-like to its full extent, it's a form of hypocrisy, running away from their true identity. Or when someone has decided to be too extreme to the extent that they're going to the extreme end of reforms and all these things, there's also a form of hypocrisy. Could I be wrong if I say that? Jerry?
Have you ever asked yourself why our afternoon Bible studies never get a conclusion? Am I lying, Pastor?
Pardon?
Why our afternoon Bible studies never get a conclusion? I've realized that.
No,
Interesting.
That's interesting.
Yeah, okay. It's assumed that everyone knows, okay, has interpreted a verse or an Ellen White book in his own perspective. You've interpreted in your own perspective here. So everyone has a point and wants his point to be valid. Are you getting the point? Like, I'm the one who knows. That is the point. It has reached a situation where that we are doing Bible study, then someone is called in front, an extremist, let me use that title. Then when he's explaining something, that's why I used to hate campus Bible study. I'm sorry to say that.
Go ahead.
It reached a situation that someone said that Ellen White replaced Jesus. So I asked myself so many questions. Since when? How? Why is it not documented? Like, so I asked a question and I was replied in a very rude way that why are you using too much of Ellen White books but not the Bible? That Ellen White books are so exact. That's why we're using them. So I never asked a question again. So that's why I was saying that our afternoon Bible studies never get over because of extremism. We are so much extreme that we have the point as much as we have the point, but can you listen to someone else? As much as you want to be listened to, can you listen to someone else in the congregation? He has a very good point, or she has a very good point.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
Pastor, I don't know if you'll add voice to that, but even as you think about it, I want to ask, is there a possibility where a church generally has created an environment that will basically dictate a form of hypocrisy? Is there a possibility where in a church environment has created a space environment where someone cannot be themselves? They'll just have to live in a particular way, behave in a particular way.
Yeah, that is in the affirmative. Of course, there are reasons behind. Some of them are positive. Some of them are not very okay. But I'll say yes. You will realize that there are congregations when you enter, you may be new, but that congregation has a corporate culture, has a way that people should dress. If you come in a dress or skirt that is somehow where the church said this is the limit, the ladies there will be asked to go and help you, and you'll get into that church either if you accept to be wrapped in some lasso. If not, you will go home and change. So that may make that individual to live a life that they are not sure. Yet, when they are coming in, you see there are these scales of our growing in grace. Our fundamental belief, number 11, speaks about growing in Christ. Our growth is not the same. There are those who have grown in their spiritual walk with the Lord. They are ahead, miles ahead. They should be help you hold your hand. Another one is joining that journey. So we are not in the same level. So when you are putting in those things and saying, this is our prescribed way, let the new people come in, try and let them know, show them the reasons. And at some point, they may own those and say, for sure, this is a good value. It is a value on simplicity and modesty. This is what I want to go through. If it is hairstyle, if it is my way of dress code, once I understand what lies behind, I'll be helped other than having it prescribed. But coming to my brother who said, yes, the issue of being extreme, it is because at times we have gone ahead to fail to do that which is needed in our congregations. That point has escaped my mind, but I know it will come back again.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, we're coming to a close, and I'd like you, Jerry, to speak to someone who's watching right now, who's probably in denial of their reality. What would you tell them?
At some extent, no one is in denial of the reality. The problem is that they don't want to accept themselves. This is my reason for that. That point where you realize you need to be real, it's that time you'll start being straight with your life. The problem with us youths, we hatutaki kujikubali tulivyo. What we do is to impress that person mwenye anatuona. We don't want to be real. Like, we put on suits to impress ladies and that. Watu wana, yeah, kidogo hivi nichaguliwe youth leader, unaona. But what's the reality behind? Am I sleeping kama sijakula chochote? I mean the point. That point where we come to reality, that I need to be real. I need to wake up, go and look for cash, so that even if I dress in my suit, I'm comfortable, I'm sleeping. It's that point where things will go straight. But when we continue living fake, nothing will ever take place.
Man.
Pastor,
Yeah.
someone has gone through the painful realities of pretense in church and is looking at, as is watching right now, the identity. What would be your word of encouragement to them?
I would say let them not be constrained by living somebody else's life. Because God and His Word and the influence God and His Word has on our lives will be different for every other person. Today, if I know Christ when I have a problem of money when I'm in campus, I will look at Him as my CDF, my bursary. So when I'm asked to give an experience of who God is, it will be different from yours. He will be my CDF, my bursary. If the Lord came into my life when I was sick, I needed His help, I will say He is my healer. So everyone has a different experience with their Lord. Let that experience dictate how your life looks like. Do not have to live your life because somebody else out there has given you a leeway, has given you a prescribed way of how you need to live. And when you do that from your own heart, saying, this is the match the Lord has exposed me into, this is the life I want to live in, you will go far.
Wow, interesting. Now, this conversation can't come to an end, but then I've read something that I'd like to read to you. Hypocrisy is said to be the practice of claiming to have higher standards or more noble beliefs than is the case. If anything, when you die, when I die, nobody will want to know the kind of life I lived if it wasn't a reflection of who I am and where I come from and the faith that I profess. But people will remember me for the hearts that I've touched. And hearts are only touched, not from a fake perspective, but from a real perspective. Better yet, seek to remember God in all that we do as young guys. And one thing I'm sure of, when we will become real with ourselves and put aside hypocrisy, our Bible studies will make more sense, for we'll be seeking to understand God more and have Him impress truths in our lives that we can use not only to get ahead with life, but also associate better and be progressive in life. Thank you for watching.